Hello, everyone, and welcome to our last episode of the year. So, it's been an amazing year in SEO and the content marketing world. So, lots happened this year. So, I'm excited that this year is going to be behind very soon. So, welcome, Rick. It's always a pleasure to see you
Thanks,
and
Carlos.
nerd out about content and SEO. So today we have, as usual, a packed episode. We're going to talk about openness of business as a ranking factor for local SEO. We want to share with you how we got one of our articles to rank in the first page of the SERP in less than a week and how we pulled that off. Rick is going to talk about how to do outlines using AI. Also, there was a study or a paper from Search Engine Journal about trends for SEO in 2024. So we're going to talk about some takeaways from that. And we're also going to talk about how to optimize long form content. So, yeah, why don't we get it started? So, first one, very quick. So, I think Google Liaison came out, I think, a couple of weeks ago or last week. And he confirmed that your open hours for local businesses is a ranking factor. However, you don't want to fake the fact that you are open 24 hours. That might hurt you. So, but the more open your business is, the better chance you have to rank. But also, you cannot fake it until you make it, kind of thing. So, gotta be very, very careful. And of course, it's a good reminder to keep your Google business profile up to date. For instance, in the holidays, I'm sure some of you with local businesses or with a Google business profile, you would have received an email saying, "Hey, you want to update." Or reminded you to update your holiday hours. So very important for people that rely on local SEO to keep your business profile updated. Your consider your open hours and how they can impact your searchability, your how to be found via local SEO. And you cannot fake your open hours because that might hurt. If people start realizing that you're not really open at those hours, then I might be a problem. But yeah, so now we can talk about an article that we created that we got to rank in the first page of the SERP in 6 days. So I don't know, but you're right. But for me, that was an amazing achievement. So we published an article called "Can AI Rank in Google?" Was that the title of the article? No, we wrote it, and I
Uh,
now I now forget
can
about
AI
it.
content rank in Google? Yes, that
Yeah,
was it.
and in it got indexed in less than 4 days, and we didn't even submit it for indexing, which means that Google found it on their own. And day five, I think it ranked number eight in position number eight, and day number six, it was ranking position number six. So, Rick, you were the mastermind behind some of this article. I of course did a big chunk of the article, but you were the one that did the heavy lifting on the planning of the article. So I want to hear from you. What are your main takeaways of how we got this article to rank so quickly?
All right, Carlos. Well, I would love to take all the credit for this. I would. But there's a little more to it. So I've got to give a shout out to our SEO, Nizam, because there are some factors that are outside of my control, outside of the writer's control, that do lend toward that, and that is a very good site architecture, regular auditing to improve the core vitals, good URL structures. Our site's really easy for Google to come in and crawl. And without those things, without that strong technical health, then we may not even have been indexed yet, right? So the article itself had nothing to do with those things. That said, it takes a lot more than those things to be able to produce content that does rank quickly. Um, and as we've kind of revamped our internal content process lately, with an eye towards producing just the best content out there, right? Just really outstanding content that helps our audience. It provides value. It solves problems. So we approach this content and the rest, all the coming content with that in mind. And it starts with the ideation. What does our audience want to know? And you've seen it. We get emails all the time from our clients. Hey, What's your stance on AI content? Are our deliverables, are we getting AI content now, or is it human written? So it's really on their mind. We know it's a topic that they're curious about, they're worried about, they're excited about. So it's a good idea for us to produce content. So first, we are writing for our audience here. This is what they want to know about. We're going to provide it. We then took it and we create a robust brief. Right? We can't just put something like this in the hands of a writer who is somewhat disconnected. We drink our own Kool-Aid, right? We use our own freelancers to produce our content. We don't save, the top shelf stuff for our internal. No, these are our freelancers. We equip them to write the content, and that takes a strong brief. And with the brief, of course, you've got to optimize for SEO, so the brief covers that. It optimizes for what the reader's looking for. It optimizes for business objectives. But it really came down to thinking about what our audience is worried about here. And for some, this one's a little polarizing, right? So we have some who are worried that any AI content published on their site is going to just blow up their rankings. They're in trouble. They're going to go to Google jail and no traffic ever again for you. Whereas others are like, AI content's the greatest thing. Please, give me that affirmation that I'm okay to produce as much AI content as I want. So we wanted to solve both of those search intents, for our audience. And one, assuring them with fact-based information that producing content with AI is okay and it can rank with these caveats. So giving them actionable tips about how to work AI into their process. And for those who are really worried, we wanted to assure them that it is okay. If you end up with a little AI in your content, that's okay. It's not going to hurt you. It's really about the value. I won't get into the article itself, but that's how we approach it. So very strong brief, outlines all of these things for our writers. And I include a section in our briefs that describe our take, your opinion, Carlos, my opinion, crowd content's opinion on this, not the writer's opinion. They're writing for us. So we supply them with all those things, end up with outstanding copy, make sure we get some visual elements in there, some expert quotes in there, and then get it up. And, when you do it right, this is what can happen. It ranks quickly.
I think there is a couple of things that might have helped as well. I think in our briefs, which by the way sometimes are longer than the piece itself because they're so robust and so comprehensive.
Yeah.
I think the brief for this one was at least 2,000 words or 1,500 words, or at least 3 pages in terms of the instructions. But there is a piece in our briefs that is around what is our competitive edge, and we compare the top articles and look at, okay, if we're going to really outcompete these people, what is going to be the information that can be provided that is going to be above and beyond what is already out there, and what is going to be our angle. So I think we do a good job at coming out with something new and a competitive angle, and we're not just trying to replicate what everybody's doing. And like you said, also having our own take on the topic helps with the expertise part of it and the experience part of it. So number 2, I think topical authority. So I don't think anybody with any site would have just been able to get this ranking right away, but we are seen as an authority in the eyes of Google around writing in general, right? About copywriting, about writing services, around content marketing, right? We have a whole section that is all about grammar tips and things like that. So I think our site is fairly authoritative, so that kind of allow us to get some of these articles to rank faster, even though we don't have a lot of the keywords that we're targeted with that article around the rest of the site. But I think, again, we've talked about this. Google's beyond keywords, so it's about topic research, and I think we have some topical authority that help us. So if I heard from you, to summarize this, of course, we had all the table of stakes stuff, like check, meaning good site architecture, good navigation, good structure and user experience, but also, of course, very strong brief, our own take, our own expertise, topical authority. Those would be the things that probably help us to rank. So we're going to be polishing a mini case study around this. and provide more information and more details about how we got to do this. We think that article might be able to rank in the top 3 positions maybe the next month. So stay tuned. Let's see how it performs. Okay, so now we're talking about again AI and briefs. So you have some to say around how to create an outline using AI.
Yeah, so this will be the second or third week, and I want to continue this talking about a brief component every week in ways that you can use AI to help you really optimize that brief component and what maybe some of the best practices are. So today I'm going to go with the heavy hitter, and that's the outline in your content brief. And I want to talk about ways that you can use AI to do it. First tip, right off the bat, it's never the first thing that you should produce when you're creating a content brief, because so many other components will inform how that outline comes out. Don't be fooled by just putting a request into AI, asking it for an outline, because it will create it, of course, and it'll look like a pretty good outline. But don't use that. You have to do the other parts first. Other parts being primary keyword, what's the search intent, what's the title, what purpose are you serving to the writers of the purpose of the content. Even your business objective can help inform the outline. A SERP analysis, what are the currently ranking articles covering? Grabbing, and you can do this with AI. I don't know if you're aware of this, Carlos, but you can throw, if you go and search your primary keyword and grab the URLs for like the top 3, you plug them into GPT and ask it to go and pull all the subheads from those articles, and it'll list them out for you. That's very useful information in making sure that your article at least meets the bar where they're at before you try to differentiate or go more unique. So that SERP analysis does help inform the outline. And like you said, and I can't believe I forgot in our last segment, the differentiation opportunities. How are you going to become unique or better than what's currently ranking? All of those things come together and help inform the outline that AI can output for you. So if you've got a brief template already and you've got all of that information filled out, which you can use AI for all of that too. But if you have that, just plug it in. It'll understand it. It'll go through it, and it will help you create a brief that checks all the boxes from the brief components that you already have. But I want to take it a step further now, Carlos. And last week I complained about the giant keyword lists on some optimization tools. And gave you a little insight into how writers really work, where most of them are actually creating the content first, and then coming back and seeing how many of those words they actually hit, and now trying to shoehorn in more to hit their score. AI can help you with this in the outline phase too. Okay, so you've given it those components, your goals, your purpose, intent, all of that information to help generate your outline. Now take it a step further. And I'm not sure yet. I'm still playing around with whether it's best to do this earlier in the process or later, so I'll update as I learn more. But you can take that list. If you're creating briefs that have giant lists, or asking your writers to use an optimization tool that have giant lists of keywords, take that list, plug it into the AI, ask it to group them. Logically, where would you assign groups of these terms in this outline? Where do these words make most sense with these subheads? Or if you use it early in the process, ask it to create subheads that best allow it to assign that list of 40 or 50 keywords and get the most coverage. Now, that's not all, though. Once you get there, okay, you've got subheads and what it thinks are the words that should go into each one. Now ask it to turn those into actionable direction for the writer to guide them towards covering the words, because remember, the way these tools work, those are really micro topics. It's not like you're trying to rank for this one random keyword. They're supposed to lead the writer towards the type of topics the other ranking articles are covering. So have the AI generate writer instruction that naturally leads them to cover that subject area for each of those words. If you do it right, you can remove the words altogether, and you should still score well in the optimization tools. I'm not recommending that. You can still let the writer see the words. they'll be so much more useful with the context of the direction that AI can create. So that kind of became the main focus of this. But to get back to it, use all of these components before you create your outlines um, with AI. Be as detailed as you can. Our outlines contain, with each subhead, there's purpose of the section, meaning what is this going to deliver to the reader. There's writer instruction for each section. Cover this, cover that, cover the other thing, and angles and ways to go about it because we fed this information into it already. There's differentiation opportunities. How can we make this section better or different from what the current ranking articles are doing? Get robust with these things. It's garbage in, garbage out, right? So the
Yeah.
more information you give the writer, the less you have to cross your fingers and hope that they produce something outstanding. Give them the map on how to get there. The outline is really the key ingredient to outstanding content.
Yeah, but I like the takeaway here is like don't just jump into outlining, right? Do the research and do the preparation and the planning. Okay, what needs to go into this, you know, topics, keywords, differentiation strategy, etc. And then get the AI to give you an initial outline. And doesn't mean that your job is done there. You take the outline and you can either refine it, going back and forth, iterate with the AI tool, or just add more or build upon it. But yeah, I think we'll be hammering around briefs because it's such an important piece of the content creation process, and we'll continue to do so. Actually, a little announcement. We're working in a very very interesting a GPT model where we it will be designed to help people or help us help you create briefs. That's coming out very soon, and we'll put it in your hands as soon as it is ready for showtime. We know there is already some out there, but none of them we have found to be great. They're just okay. So we're coming out with something great, and can't wait to put it in you guys' hands. But okay, so let's talk about SEO trends for 2024. Okay, so 2023 is pretty much behind. I don't know if anybody's going to listen to this episode anyway, because probably going to send it out when everyone is taking time off. But yeah, so reflecting on 2023, if anything, we can talk about it was the year of disruption and AI, right? And 2024, it's probably not going to be a lot different. But Search Engine Journal published an SEO Trends paper for 2024. Actually, Search Engine Journal, a little bit of feedback. It was great, but I found it a little bit repetitive in some of the insights on the trend. So it probably could have been shorter. And I know probably they were trying to squeeze in as many expert contributions as they could. But I think all experts are have some overlap. But anyway, so yeah, there were some takeaways from the report and some things to look for in 2024. I think one of the interesting comments is that generative AI or generative AI generated content is going to be the quality bar. Is going to set the quality bar, and I think my interpretation of that is like, okay, that's going to be the minimum bar, the minimum quality bar. If you're a creator, if you're producing content, if you're a writer, and if you cannot create better content than AI can, then you should level up your game, right? Or think of a different career. But no, in all seriousness, AI generated content is the bar, is the minimum bar, right? So
I
you
like
need to,
minimum bar better.
yeah, the minimum bar is not the bar, it's the minimum bar, is the table of stakes. So everybody should be at least at that level, but no, not even at least at that level. You need to be a little bit above that level, because if everybody's that level, then you're all at the bottom. So that's the bottom level, right? AI generated content. So you can only build up on that. So I think so people understand that it's not about humans against machines. It's just okay. Well, now is the new bar quality. If a robot can generate this, you a human should be able to generate something better. If you're if you have an alliance with the machine, right? So just if you're partnering with the machine, you should be able to create something better. So that's one of the insights. It's all about helpfulness, right? So HTU I think was huge when it came out, and during 2023, Google continued to make some updates around helpful content. So I don't think that's going to change. We'll see more of that, and I think it's going to get even. I don't know if the right word is worse or better, but it's going to be more intense because again, with the proliferation of content and AI generated content, I think Google bar about what is helpful is going to be higher. Now, in the terms of around the topic of helpful content, now it's not only about helpful content; it's about helpful sites. So you want your site to be helpful overall. If you in your site have content or pages that are not helpful at all in the journey or in the searchers or helping with searchers query, then you should get rid of those pages or really think about the audit those pages and see if these adding value or taking value away. So you need to look at the overall site in terms of helpfulness, not just an individual piece at a time. It's not like, okay, I'm not going to do anything with those unhelpful pieces I have and then create just helpful pieces. No, you need to look at the overall site and really clean it up, just content hygiene, right? And make sure that not only your content is helpful but also your site is helpful. The other trend is, I think the demand for experts just will continue to intensify. We've seen it. We see our clients coming up for more expertise, subject matter experts, and I think it's going to get really, really intense because there is a finite number of experts, and the demand for expert is growing exponentially because now, because of AI, everyone needs to differentiate even more and needs to play into differentiation. And a way to do that is having an expert helping you produce the content. So I think that demand is not going to slow down. If anything, is going to continue to grow potentially exponentially. So yeah, something to keep into account. Disruption, will continue next year. And I think when I talk about disruption, what I'm thinking about next year in some of the comments is about disruption in search, meaning and how search behavior is going to change, right? So now with SGE and AI powered search, behaviors and search results are going to change. So it's going to be disrupted. Nobody's knows yet how things are going to look like. So everybody needs to be on the edge of their seat, really watching these changes very closely if you want to stay ahead of the game. Expert-led content, I think I just touched on that point. And yeah, search behavior is going to change dramatically. So SEOs will have a very, very busy year in 2024. Is there anything, Rick, that you think is gonna happen in 2024 around content around SEO? It doesn't have to be from the report. It can be just your own opinion.
I want to add to one thing you said about expert or the demand on experts increasing. I agree with that. But I think it'll also shift from more of that fact checking and insights to firsthand experience from experts. Even if they aren't the ones writing the content, we need to be able to extract that firsthand experience from our SMEs and get that into the content that we're publishing.
And the last trend that I see, I want to mention for next year is around opportunity and threats for SEOs. So the opportunity is going to be around helping clients adapt to their new world, or helping your businesses adapt to the new world of search. So now you're not optimizing for the traditional SERP. You also need to figure out how to optimize for SGE, because now you want to be one of those top results that are being surfaced with SGE. We also need to follow to see what is going to happen with SGE. But that's going to be an opportunity, because not if you're an agency, not all of your clients are going to be on top of that, and they're going to turn back to you to help you figure that out. So lots of opportunity, but it's a big threat for agencies or businesses that are not keeping up to date and are not on the ball of search and all these changes. They're going to get crushed. I can see some agencies maybe folding, right? Because they're not going to be able to keep up, and they're going to lose clients. And if they don't produce results, they're going to fall. And I also see some businesses that are going to also lose a lot of traffic, because if they are not on the ball with all these changes, they're just going to be left behind. So it's going to be a lot of movement next year, but huge opportunity, but huge threats as well. And you just need to be on top of your game and on top of everything that is going on. Rick?
Yeah, I think the report even predicted 15-20% drop for informational content. So an increase in zero-click searches, right? Because of SGE. So very good points.
Yeah. Anyway, and let's close it up with optimization of long-form content. So, Rick, what are your thoughts around that?
Well, when I say optimization in this, for this segment, I'd really like to talk about how to keep your reader on the page and maybe gain some interaction or engagement while you're at it. long form content, sometimes we find ourselves having to publish something that's 4,000 words long, and it may be super fantastic copy, but depending on how it's presented, even with a reader who needs the information, you might lose them because it's dense, it's long. We're talking a wall of text, right? And it's going to send them running for the hills. So I just want to cover some best practices when you're dealing with longer form copy, to help keep people on the page and keep them engaged with the content. We'll start with some of the basics, right? Break up content with bullet points, numbered lists. It's kind of a no-brainer, but anytime you find yourself creating a serial list, you have an opportunity for bullet points. Take it, especially if you see you're a few paragraphs into whatever section that you're writing about. Get those bullet points in there. It's a cleaner way to present information, and it reduces paragraph size. So make use of that. Some other real basic things to be mindful of is never going more than 300 words max between the subheads. Bullet points and numbered lists don't count here. If you've gone more than 300 words max, even with bullets, you need a new subhead. This gives the reader a chance to pause. It tells their mind, hey, we've stopped talking about whatever we just covered and we're moving into something new there. It's a bit of a reset. Another thing to be mindful of is transitional words and phrases between your paragraphs. It shouldn't be this abrupt stop and then fresh start in your next section or paragraph. So make sure your writer is using transitional words. AI can help with this. There's plenty of lists out there online that will show you ideas, words that you can use to help go close out one topic and start the next. And at larger scale, make sure that the content is logically laid out so that those transitional words work between paragraphs and sections. Lastly, on the basic side, incorporate relevant, useful, interesting, or engaging visuals, whether those are images or infographics, or even better if you're able to do that. But make sure that stay away from the what do you call them? The generic pictures, Carlos.
Stock images.
Stock photos, stock images. Yeah, stay away. Even if it's relevant to the subject matter, nothing stands out like a stock image, right? And now with DALL-E, with AI, and it's so easy to go in and actually create something interesting or funny or beautiful with DALL-E, and it'll be unique. You're the only one who's got it, and just create that and put it in. But break up that content with those images, with those visuals. Now, with the basics out of the way, let's talk about a few advanced techniques that can help you to keep readers on the page. First is segmented storytelling. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what storytelling is when it comes to content production. What I'm recommending is segmented storytelling. So your article has a theme, and whatever that is, you want a story that aligns with that theme that you can refer to section by section. So you might start it in your first H2. We'll talk about an experience that we went through as a business that is illustrated by the topic we're discussing. But I'm just going to introduce it at the beginning, kind of like, here's the problem we were dealing with. And then as I get into the subsequent sections and I'm getting into tips, I'm going to progress that story throughout the content with whatever section is relevant at the time. So I'm not just going to drop one story at the top, maybe refer to it a couple times throughout the rest of the content. I'm going to break that story up as we go, aligning the parts of the story with the sections of the content. And that will help keep your reader engaged. They want to know how this works out. It's kind of like reading fiction. Another one, I'm not sure how often you can do this, but interactive quizzes are a great way to keep people involved. I've seen it done at the end of content, and referred to in the content where you're saying, at the end, take our little quiz to see if you've really absorbed this and see how you ranked against other readers. Kind of get the competitive juices going, right, with your readership. Another way to do it is gamification of content. But another way to do it is to break the questions up section by section. So as they get through in H2, have a question or two right there with multiple stories, just, quick, nothing too in depth, but make it fun for them. Let them see the results at the end of the content. That's one good way to keep them going. Like if you're 2/3 of the way, might as well finish up and see if I, scored perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Downloadable checklists are a good way, especially if understanding what you just read will help you to use the checklist you're downloading, or whatever that tool that you can download is a form, a template, a checklist. If you need to understand the content to be able to use it, that's a good way. But just make sure you're setting the stage in your content for that. That at the end you'll have a downloadable template you can use, but make sure you read through this to understand each component, that type of thing. Um, Positive reinforcement is another good one. And by that, I mean finding social media from industry influencers or experts that positively back up what you're telling them in a certain section. If it relates to your H2 section and it's affirming it, put that in there. Mentally, that's telling your reader like you're giving them valuable information that experts or influencers believe in. And last but not least, and this should go without saying, absolutely 100% make sure that every section you write delivers on the promise its subhead presents. And I hate that I have to say it, Carlos, but it happens so frequently where a subhead says, here's what's coming next, or an intro says, here's what you can expect here, and it never happens. That's the first time I get to a subhead and I read through the 2 or 3 paragraphs and it didn't give me what it said it was going to give me, I bounce. I go find something else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you know,
if nothing
how
else, deliver on your
humans work.
promises.
We need to tell humans a concept 7 times until they finally get it. So it's okay that we keep repeating these things. I think even for ourselves, just to keep them in mind. But to summarize some of the stuff that you said, segmented storytelling, gamification of content, deliver on the promise, and all the other basic stuff, right?
Yeah.
To be engaging, use bullet points, also maximum 300 words per section. So those are great tips, and I hope some of you find it helpful. Rick, thank you very much. I want to also thank the audience, whomever made it to this point. Thank you very much, because this one was a long one, but packed
It was a long
with
one today.
tips and tricks. And well, thank you everyone also for your business, for your listening or reading or content, and for putting up with Rick and I over the last few episodes. We hope to continue to improve these episodes and this newsletter in 2024 and deliver more and more value to you, because we really like you to get value out of this, and we really love to produce great content. So with that said, Merry Christmas, everyone. I think if you might get this edition after Christmas, but anyway, Merry Christmas and a very happy 2024, and a lots of SEO and content success. Thank you, Rick, and I'll see you next week.
Happy holidays, everyone, and Merry Christmas, Carlos.